Tired of confusing golf instruction? Tired of complicated swing mechanics? Welcome to the science of simplicity. Welcome to Real Swing Golf. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and visit www.realswinggolf.com. Lee Westwood, you will win your first major if you hashtag walkaway from the straight back, straight through putting stroke. Hey Real Swing skill seekers, as you watch me make 14 straight 7-foot putts before I begin my private lesson with Lee Westwood, just a couple of things to remind you of. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe the video. Plus, remember to click the notification bell when you subscribe. That way you'll get my new videos. If you like more detailed instruction from me, you can purchase the Keep It Simple Swing Program Part 1 video. The link will be in the description below. Now many of you might be wondering, so when are we going to see Part 2 of the Keep It Simple Swing Program? Well, I'm still in the editing process of that. It takes a long time when you're self-editing and you're a golf pro, not a professional video editor. So I'm still working on it, and it will be coming out hopefully later this summer or early in the fall. Again, because I'm a single parent, widow or dad, I've got a lot of balls to juggle, so I'm still working on it, and hopefully I'll get it out soon. Now, if you'd really like to supercharge your learning, remember that I'm available for live coaching over the internet via FaceTime video or Skype video. It's just like having an actual real live lesson with me in person, except we can't shake hands. So, enjoy watching this private putting lesson for Lee Westwood, one of the game's premier ball strikers who, if he could only putt, would probably win his first major and possibly many more. So, sit back, enjoy, and I'm about to start my lesson with Lee Westwood. Hey Real Swing skill seekers, I hope you'll join me today for a little putting instruction video. Now this video is actually a personal putting lesson for Lee Westwood. And any of you Real Swing skill seekers who want to listen in and learn a few things about putting, you certainly can. This is the first putting video that I've done. It's Ron Sisson here from Real Swing Golf here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, professional golf coach. And I have some very unique ideas about putting. And when you learn how to putt like I do, it just becomes very machine-like and automatic. I've got about a 7-foot putt here, and as you saw in the intro there, I made putt after putt after putt, and that's because of my, oh, finally I missed one. That's because of my unique whole body putting motion. Yeah, I wasn't going to miss that one. So Lee Westwood, you are a modern day George Knudson. George Knudson and Jack Nicklaus were about the same age, and they played together for years and years on tour. And Jack was in absolute awe of George Knudson.
I can tell you that George Knudson is one of the finest ball strikers ever.
The day that I've got my long game going, I would say is, well, it's 99% of the time. It's through the years of dedication in developing a golf swing that has made this happen. I'm not shocked at all or surprised when I go out and I knock the ball against the hole time and time and time again.
And here he is again, carried right over the flag, right over the top of the flag. I don't think I've ever seen a man shoot a ball straighter than George. Moves it out to the right. It's drawing back toward the flag and almost carried in. Oh, it almost carried in the cut on a fly.
He struck it beautifully. You have got to be kidding me.
Nicklaus once described him as a $1 million swinger and a 10-cent putter.
$1 million swing and a 10-cent putter. Well, you know, I don't know. But, George was a heck of a player. George was a great striker of the ball, and you know, I think he just never quite got to his potential because he couldn't get it in the hole.
A 20-year PGA Tour veteran has to be able to putt sometimes, but George was often really lousy. There's no telling what he might have achieved had he been just okay. There was as much indecision and uncertainty evident in his putting as there was assuredness in his swing, and the result was not surprising.
Like Mo Norman, another Canadian, and Ben Hogan, it's basically Mo, Ben, George Knudson, the top three greatest ball strikers of all time. Now, in terms of golf accomplishments, winning tournaments, only Ben, of those three, only Ben was actually obviously a legendary golfer in terms of wins and majors and so on and so forth. And that's because Ben in his prime could really putt well. Unfortunately for Lee, his career has been more George Knudson-like rather than Ben Hogan-like. Like George Knudson, Lee has always been a great ball striker, but an extremely inconsistent putter.
Westwood has long been regarded as one of the best players in the game from tee to green, but once on the dance floor, the stats tell a story of inconsistency.
Left rough for Lee.
Here is an example of Lee's ball striking brilliance. He's in a situation with a 222-yard shot to the green with a giant tree blocking his way. As you'll hear in a moment, ball striking legend himself, Nick Faldo, and now full-time broadcaster, thinks he's going to draw or hook the ball around the trees. Watch what happens.
Well, big draw. Can he get it? You know, he's going right over the top. Going to say, can you get it high enough from that? She's nailed it right at it. That could be a
Spectacular.
It's a poor man's two. What a great shot.
And now the question, will he make the putt to pay off the brilliant ball striking?
Tweeted this morning that he was feeling good, got 2-week run and feeling good about his game, so it's got a bit of rust off after the first few holes, and now he's found his stride.
Inside of 5 feet for birdie after that terrific second from Westwood.
He does indeed make the putt. However, if you watch very closely, you will see that the ball just barely goes in the right edge before falling to the bottom of the cup. While that slight push in his stroke that sends the ball to the right might make it on a putt inside of 5 feet, on a longer putt of 8 or 10 feet or more, that same stroke will send the ball far enough right to miss the hole completely. Being a big fan of Lee Westwood and having watched him for many years, unfortunately his miss is typically to the right, especially under extreme pressure, like at the 2016 Ryder Cup here on the 17th hole. He has a must-make from 7 feet to tie the hole to leave the match all square going into the final hole.
See if his stroke's working. Looks pretty good there. Pretty straight.
And Ryan Moore is able to make a par and win the hole after he watched his partner, J.B. Holmes, go in the water. And that is a huge development at 17.
Having missed on the previous hole to go 1 down in the match, Lee has to make this 3.5 footer to have the match, to save a half point for Europe.
To have the match.
And again, the miss is to the right.
You gotta be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. So for the third time, Westwood misses a short putt. And the U.S., as a result of it, gets the full point. Holmes and Moore add another full one. 8.5 to 6.5.
Here, Lee is asked in an interview what the solution is to his putting conundrum.
Swinging the putter through on a straighter line.
He believes that the solution is to swing his putter in a straighter line, both back and through, essentially the straight back, straight through putting stroke. Ironically, not only is this not the solution, it is actually the real cause of the problem of missing to the right, as I will explain in the rest of this video. So Lee, I'm one of your biggest fans, and I sure hope that you watch the rest of this video and take note of what I'm about to show you. So just the other day on Thursday, I think it was, or Friday, one of the opening 2 rounds, I saw you, Lee, get set up to hit an iron shot. And for those of you real swing skill seekers, Lee Westwood is like George Knudson, just this deadly accurate ball striker. Every time I see him hit a golf shot, the ball is right on target. And for those of you who don't know, Lee's swing is a little bit unique in that he sets up. As he swings back, he actually, his whole torso dips slightly and his head drops about 3 or 4 inches. Then swinging through the ball, his head dips even more, so that at impact, Lee Westwood actually is, his head is quite a bit lower than at address, and his arm is quite bent at impact. So there goes the theory of you have to look like Adam Scott or Tiger Woods to hit great golf shots. Lee is living proof of that. So again, back to you, Lee. Once again, I saw, oh, that's Lee Westwood. I recognize that setup. I saw that swing, that great rhythm, that great contact, and I'm thinking, yep, this is going to be right by the flag, and sure enough it was. And you hit it to about 7-8 feet. This is about a 7-foot putt. I measured it out with a tape measure. And you're doing this thing now with your hands where your hands are exactly together. I'm not sure how you're doing it. Maybe it's clasp the fingers in like this. Perhaps in an attempt to be able to create that perfectly level shoulder so one shoulder isn't down lower than the other because of hands splitting. And then I saw, of course, obviously I don't know what the read of the putt was. Maybe you misread it, I'm not sure. But you set up to the putt, it looked to me like it was a fairly straight putt. And you hit the putt, and it looked like you were trying to do what most golfers are told to do, swing the putter straight back and straight through and keep the putter square, pushing it towards the hole. And just like I did on that one, you missed that putt to the right. It was probably by about 6-8 inches or more. Straight back and straight through. Sometimes it'll work. Most of the time it won't. And here's why. When I was learning to teach years and years ago, my mentor, Vance Allred, once said, the words straight and golf swing should never ever appear in the same sentence. Now, a golf club would swing in a straight line relative to our target line, say I'm hitting an iron shot. If the swing were a Ferris wheel, then the club would move in a direct straight line relative to this target line. But because you're standing beside the ball and with an iron club usually farther away, as you swing back, the club is going to naturally arc to the inside. Then it's going to make an arc out to contact, reaching the very outer apex of its arc at contact, and then past contact, it's going to curve like this. Now, while that's happening, the face of the club starts off facing at the target, but immediately as you swing back, the face begins to open. Not because you're rotating or manipulating the face, it's just following the natural arc of the swing. Then as we make the turn our shoulders, the club hinges up here. As we come down, about halfway to impact, the face is facing 90 degrees to the right of our intended target. Then the hands slow down, the club catches up as the club releases, and the club face rotates around back to hopefully square at that moment of impact. And then immediately past impact, the club face starts to rotate more and face left, and it curves away from the target line. Now, there are golfers who believe, even legendary golfers, that the great players are able to stop the club's rotation and hold it square and keep the club going down the line for an extended period of time, which is really, in reality, an attempt to defy the laws of physics. If we got a club head whirling through space, accelerating 3 to 5 times faster than a top fuel dragster to speeds anywhere from, at the pro level, 110 to 150 miles an hour, like the long drive guys, how is a club going at that speed going to stop arcing, go straight for a while, and then go back to arcing? And how is a club face that's in a constant state of rotation, how is that player going to magically get it to a perfectly square position at a certain point, maybe a few inches before the ball, hold it square, and then let it go back to rotating? I'll let your common sense help you figure out that no, the club cannot swing in a straight line in any way, shape, or form, even for a small amount. And no, the club face will not stop its rotation and then be held square and then go back to rotating again. Now that's in the full swing. So how does this apply to putting? Well, if I have an arc in this swing, when I move a little bit closer to the ball, does that mean it suddenly turns into a straight line? Now, as you were watching my putting at the start of the video, you're probably going, what the heck is this guy doing? His hips are rotating, his head's turning, everything's moving. How come the ball's going straight in time after time after time after time? Well, let me explain the genesis of that putting method that I developed. It's a long story, but I'll try to make it as brief as possible. So, imagine me 10 years old and my dad telling me how to putt. So what did he tell me? Swing the putter straight back and straight through, Ron, and keep the putter face square. It made sense to me, and it makes sense to a lot of people. Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? If the putter head is moving in a direct straight line towards the target, and the face of the club doesn't open up or close and stays square the whole time, that gives you the greatest possibility that the ball will go straight, right? Except there's one problem, and that is, you're not built to swing a putter straight back and straight through. Now you would be if you could get the moving parts that make the putter move, which is your shoulders. If you could get your spine so you're exactly level with the ground. I think Michelle, we tried to do this a while ago. And have your shoulders going directly straight up and down like pistons, and you have the putter straight up and down without an angle to it. Oh shoot, that's against the rules, isn't it? So now, if I use a one-piece putting stroke and rock my shoulders, the putter might swing straight back and straight through. But since you don't stand like that and the putter's on an angle, the putter, if you simply move your torso in a one-piece motion, is going to naturally make a slight arc. It's not going to be as pronounced as your full swing because you're a lot closer to the ball. And the face of the club, like the regular swing, is going to open on the backswing, square up at contact, and close going through impact. Kind of like that. Now where did the ball go? The ball went straight. But you see, I didn't know that at the time because I did what my dad told me to do, what everybody says seems to make common sense. Straight back, straight through, keep the putter square. And I managed to do it. But here's the problem. In order to do that, you have to do trillions of manipulations as you do it. Because if I set up and I just simply turn my shoulders when I swing back, the putter is going to naturally arc and the face is going to naturally open. That's with no manipulation at all, just a simple rotation turn of the shoulders. So, in order for the putter to stay between those two alignment rods, I have to actually twist, and I'll do it from this angle just to make a little more sense. So as I'm swinging the putter back, I literally have to move my arms out away from my body the further back I go in order to keep the club going on a straight track this way. Now obviously on a shorter putt, we won't see that much manipulation, but on a slightly longer putt, I have to literally swing my arms out and away from my body in order for the club to follow that straight back track. If I simply do a one-piece motion and use my shoulders as the pivot, then the putter will naturally arc. Now, If I have to do it on this side of the putting swing, what am I going to have to do on this side? Same thing. I have to move my arms further out away from my body to keep them moving on that line. And that is a bunch of manipulation. Now you can do the manipulation just right, and the putter head will end up going straight back and straight through. You can train yourself to do that. But why would we want all this manipulation? The most damaging part of this whole thing, though, is what the face does. Because the face is going to naturally open, square, and close, you have to twist and turn and manipulate your club face in order to keep it square to your intended line for the whole putt, especially as we get into longer putts. So that means, let's take this ball out for a second here. So as I swing back, the further I swing back, the more I have to twist and turn my hands so that the putter does not open as I swing back. So let's say I've got a longish putt, so I swing back about here. So now watch this. I'm going to twist and manipulate my hands, turning them under so the putter face remains square at the backswing, about a 2-foot backswing there. Now, all I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to turn my shoulders back and keep my hands the way that they got twisted to. Now, do you see how much I had to twist the putter face out of position? I had to turn it inward some 20 degrees so that it's square at this part of the backswing. Now, if I've had to twist it 20, 30 degrees this way to keep it square going back, I have to re-manipulate it back to square when I hit it. Then going past impact, again, what do I have to do? I have to twist and turn and manipulate my hands so that the putter face is facing at the target at this point, right? So, trying to make the putter swing straight back and straight through and keep the putter face square the entire time is a series of complicated twisting and manipulation. And Lee, you've probably found with enough time and practice and your new grip there, you've been able to get it sort of okay. Whoops, I scuffed the ground on that one. I'm not sure about that. I don't know whether you clasp your hands together or you got one hand on top of the other. I'm not sure. Maybe just have your right hand on, the other hand on top like that. I don't know. And then it's attempt to go straight back, straight through. And when you get the manipulations just right, they go straight. But when you under twist, you pull it. When you over twist, you push it right, burns the edge all the time. So this is why you struggle with your putts, especially your short range putts, because you're trying to manipulate the putter straight back and straight through, and it's completely unnatural and against everything that would happen if you putted with a more normal one-piece motion. Now there is a fellow who's won 14 majors, 79 tournaments, and this past Open Championship, he almost made it 15 and 80, except for a couple of bad swings. He putts with an arc. Oh, no twisting, no manipulation, and the putter, like the normal swing, makes a curving arc going back, curves back to contact, curves through, and because the face is square at the beginning, it will come back square at impact.
You'll see on this birdie putt that Tiger has of about 15 feet. As he swings the putter back, he takes it very slightly inside on the backswing as it follows its arc. The putter returns square at contact. And in the follow-through, you'll notice that the putter face is facing left and the sweet spot area of the putter is a little bit left of the target line as he allowed the putter to make its natural arc. With the putter face being square at the only moment it mattered, impact. The result? The ball rolls in, center cut.
They say that Tiger is releasing the putter. He's not releasing the putter. He's just simply allowing the putter to follow its natural course and allowing the face to make its natural open, square, and close. A good one-piece motion is simply Putter, hands, arms, shoulders, torso stay perfectly motionless. The motion of the putter comes from turning the shoulders, and the hands arm unit is supposed to just remain absolutely motionless. No manipulation, twisting, nothing. And what happens? Putt after putt, the ball is on line. And of course, putting has two variables, distance and direction. And controlling distance, especially on different green speeds and slopes and stimp meters and all of that, that's tricky enough as is. So if you're trying to go straight back, straight through, twist and manipulate, you're constantly off in your direction, which means that's another variable that you have to worry about. Whereas if you use that one-piece motion like Tiger does and simply allow the putter to follow its own natural arc, allow the face to open up, square and close, then you know it's going to be going straight. Now you can focus just on the one thing that's really critically important, and that is controlling the distance. Straight again. And you notice as you watch, my putter is in no way, shape, or form following a straight line relative to the straight track here, nor is the face square except for that only moment where it counts, which is impact. Straight arrow putts, time after time after time. So now you might be wondering, what the heck is this guy doing with his hips and torso and shoulder and everything rotating and turning? He's letting his head rotate and turn as well. Like, what's that about? I call it whole body putting. And the long story short about how it developed was that I would have trouble. Guess we might have to cut this video short. I would have trouble because what are we told that we're supposed to do with our lower body? Don't move your lower body. It has to stay perfectly still while the upper body does the moving. Well, that seemed fine enough for me on short range putts. And I did that because everybody says if you move your body around, that's going to make you miss your putt. If you move your head, that's going to make you miss your putt. Well, as you can see, in all the putts that I've hit with my whole body technique, do I miss? Rarely, if ever. It's usually because it hits a poa grass bump. So I would try to keep my lower body still, just like everybody says you're supposed to on shorter range putts. And then what I found was that on long range putts, obviously we need a longer stroke and more turn of the torso. Well, it was really hard not to move my hips and move my torso because everything's connected. So what I did was I began, on longer putts, I began allowing my hips to turn a little bit and move a little bit on long putts, and it felt so natural and comfortable, I thought, hey, why don't we do that on every putt? So I have an extra long putter. I kind of wedge my arms up into my side so everything's attached and connected. I have a very slightly open stance to encourage my putter to arc back on the inside. And then instead of a one-piece motion being just my upper body, everything moves as one piece. And as you can see, the putter makes its natural arc. Mine's actually a little more pronounced because I stand fairly tall because I got back problems from years and years of teaching golf and swinging endlessly day after day. So my arc is fairly pronounced. And the putter makes its natural arc. Ball goes straight, time after time after time. And my hands are just slightly firm to prevent any wobbling with the putter. And I allow the big muscles of the body to control the putt. Dead center again. Oh, this gets pretty boring. Straight as an arrow, time after time. Now, you'll notice that my putter does not go straight down the target line, nor does the face stay square. It arcs left and goes this way. And there's some people who say, well, in order for the putt to go straight, you got to make sure that putter tracks straight down the line and the putter face stays square. All right, let's see if that's true. Let's see if the path or the movement of the putter past the impact point has any effect on what happens to the ball. Nope, no effect. Gee, no effect on that one either. Nope, no effect on that one either. So, I guess trying to artificially create this straight back, straight through track with a square club face has always been a false premise. So, Lee, if you want to win that first major and shed that title of best player ever without a major, come and see me for a putting lesson. And I'll help you get that putter moving on its proper arc without any twisting or manipulation of your hands, and you'll start to make putt after putt after putt after putt. Maybe I should just keep putting until I finally miss one. Oh, the mind does funny things. I think it's probably best that I finish this video off anyway because I got some thunder rolling in. One more for the road. So, Lee, ditch the straight back, straight through thing. Ditch the trying to hold the putter square. Get that putter moving on an arc. Allow the face to open, square close. Keep those hands steady. And whether you adopt my whole body putting thing, yeah, you get too much ribbing on the tour with that. But just let that putter follow its own natural arc. Let the putter open up, square up, close up. That way, you'll start sinking those important 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 foot putts. And you're so good at putting, you have those kinds of range of putts, or pardon me, you're so good at ball striking, you have those kinds of putts all day long. Just imagine if you start sinking those suckers. You might even go back to being number 1 in the world again, even at age 43 or 4 or 5, however old you are. Anyway, thank you, and I hope you've enjoyed this private lesson, Lee. All you real swing skill seekers who are listening in, I hope you've picked up a tip or two as well. And this actually is my very first short game video. And as you can see, just like I have radical ideas about the full swing, I also have some fairly radical ideas about putting. But as you saw from the results, seemed to work pretty good. Until next time, keep it real. The ball will go straight, right? To go straight back, straight through, twist and manipulate. If you use that one-piece motion like Tiger does, and simply allow the putter to follow its own natural arc, allow the face to open up, square and close, then you know it's going to be going straight. Now you can focus just on the one thing that's really critically important, and that is controlling the distance. Straight again.
And now for something completely different.
I had 20. But Steve!
Yes, Mr. Collins, what is it?
They say I'm drunk.
They say you're drunk, but you just say you've just been drinking, right? He ain't drunk, he just been drinking, that's all. What do y'all think? Tell them the story with that guitar, Albert.
Two drunks in a tavern. This is two drunks in a tavern.
Loud Collins for you.